So today we're going to dive into the really profound spiritual journey of Apostle Michael Orokpo. It's an absolutely incredible story of intense preparation, some truly otherworldly encounters, and a transformation that, well, it launched a global ministry. We're going to walk through the key events just as he described them, step by step, to really get a handle on how this all came to be.
And it all kicks off with this one powerful idea. Just imagine feeling like you're going through some intense hidden process. Like you're being prepared for something you can't even see yet. This one sentence really sets the stage for a journey where the purpose was so much bigger than the struggle.
So, where did it begin? The process started with a divine instruction: fast for 6 months. Now, this wasn't just 6 months straight with no food, nothing like that. The structure was unbelievably demanding. We're talking 21 days of fasting, followed by just 9 days of rest, and then you repeat that cycle every single month. This was the fire, right? This was the cooking process he talked about, all designed to get him ready for what was coming next. And it was during this incredibly intense period that the spiritual realm just started to open up in a really dramatic way. The first major supernatural events, they weren't gentle. Nope, they were direct, head-on confrontations with dark forces. Let's get into what actually happened. Okay, so try to picture this. He's in the 6th month of this whole ordeal, and a being literally walks right out of the wall. It looked like a naked woman, but it had the head of a man. Apostle Orokpo later identified this entity as the spirit of perversion, which he realized was one of the main spiritual forces holding people back in his home region. During this terrifying encounter, he said he was completely paralyzed, couldn't move. And in that moment of just total weakness, he had this critical realization, which is captured in the quote you see here. His own human strength was totally useless. The only thing he could do was cry out for divine mercy. And the encounters didn't stop there, not by a long shot. In another vision, 2 more beings showed up. And then all of a sudden, the walls of his room just disappeared, and he saw that, spiritually, he was still in his village. This was a huge lesson for him. You can travel a whole world, fly 14 hours to America, but if you haven't been spiritually lifted up, you're still trapped right where you started. And through all this, a revelation came. He understood that these spiritual beings had authority over people's lives through 4 specific gateways. And you can see them right here: womanizing, lying, alcoholism, and pride. The message was crystal clear. If you can conquer these things in your own life, these powers lose their grip on you. But this intense spiritual battle, well, it started to take a physical toll. The journey quickly turned into a moment of extreme physical weakness. It was a brush with death that would actually become a huge, pivotal breakthrough. He describes himself as literally being sick and dying. He felt so weak that it seemed absolutely impossible for him to fulfill his destiny. This was a moment of complete and utter despair, where his physical body was just failing under all that immense spiritual pressure. And right at that rock bottom moment, another being appeared. But this one was different. It sat by his bed and delivered this incredibly powerful, life-changing promise. This was the turning point, a divine word that just sliced right through all the sickness and despair. And the result was immediate. It was tangible. He described seeing a black object literally walk out of his body. And from that exact moment, the weakness, the sickness, it was gone, for good. It was a physical healing that cleared the way for the next phase of his preparation. Okay, so with his body restored, the transformation shifted. It went from the physical to the intellectual and spiritual. This next encounter was all about receiving a supernatural impartation of knowledge. We're talking about things he had never, ever studied. He describes being in this strange, trance-like state, kind of between being conscious and subconscious. An old man, an elder, walked into his room. A Bible opened on its own, and as the pages turned, he felt as if light and wisdom were just being poured directly into him. And after this, he started to speak and teach with an understanding that he definitely did not get from reading books. And all of this leads us to the climax of his preparation. All the fasting, the confrontations, the healing, the impartation of wisdom, it was all building to this one final, commissioning vision that would completely define his purpose. The final vision was the big one. He saw an eagle, and it was massive, bigger than a building, flying from one nation to the next. And as he looked closer, he saw himself hanging onto its wings. The symbolism was just unmistakable. This was his commission for a global ministry, to be carried supernaturally across the entire world.
So, here's the most astonishing part, the real-world result. This wasn't just some nice dream. Immediately after that eagle vision, within just 10 days, invitations for ministry came pouring in from 17 different nations. 17! The spiritual commission just exploded into the physical world with incredible speed.
So, this entire journey, right, from a 6-month fast all the way to a global commission, it really brings us to this final question. The apostles' story is this incredible testament to being cooked for influence, all leading to a moment where, in biblical terms, his horn was exalted.